Hello, and welcome to my inaugural episode of Unnamed Dueling Showcase, a series in which I hope to show off a deck profile, some replays, and my general thoughts about the deck. If you can guess what series I'm ripping off, no prizes. That being said, let's move on to the card by card. 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit will start our list. Rescue Rabbit is the best starter for the deck because unlike Draconet and unlike Venus, it is a 1-card Aurum, which means if you hard open your Rescue Rabbit plus Lee, you can make 2 copies of Beckoned or Chosen, link 1 into Imduck, link for Aurum to special the Lee from your hand, and search Chalice, tribute the Lee for your Imduck, and now you have your additional normal summon for the cup online. I think Rescue Rabbit is better than any other starter for this deck, specifically for that reason. Being a 1-card Aurum that lets you special summon Lee from your hand rather than additionally normal summoning it is very important and cannot be understated. Secondly, we're on 2 copies of World Chalice Guard Dragon. You can use this card as a hand trap to protect your linked monsters from targeted effects, but more often than not, I'm simply ending on 2 copies of this card in the graveyard, or rather, putting 2 copies of this card in the graveyard on turn 1, one to be used on my first turn to facilitate Ningirsu draws, and the second for follow-up plays on turn 3. Next, we're on 3 copies of World Legacy World Chalice. The cup is fantastic. I would rather draw the cup than Lee, if I'm telling you the truth, because if you open a normal monster plus Chalice plus any other World Chalice name, you get full combo off that, whereas if you opened Lee instead, you would have to normal summon your Lee for the additional summon to get the search for Chalice, and then you could normal summon it that turn, so that would be a brick, whereas if you do Chalice in that hand, you get to full combo. Of course, what Chalice does is, if this face-up normal summoned or set card leaves the field, summon 2 World Chalice monsters from your deck. This can also be Lee if you don't hard draw Lee, which is another reason why sometimes you would rather draw the Chalice before drawing the Lee, because you can special summon Lee mid-combo for its effect. You can't special summon Chalice mid-combo for its effect. We are still playing 3 copies of Lee. Since we're playing Rescue Rabbit, we can still special summon Lee from our hand in most situations, so it's still a good card to draw. It's just, if you aren't in a position, if you don't draw Rescue Rabbit, you would rather have Chalice in your hand than Lee. Lee, of course, is still incredibly powerful. There are a couple situations in which you draw like ass that you actually want to make Ib in the extra monster zone, send it to the graveyard to add Lee back to your hand, and then special summon Lee from your hand off Ib. And then that will let you start some additional combos. There's a replay like that I will show off in this video. 3 copies of Beckoned. If you want to go down to 20 cards, you can cut the Chosen, but I do want to resolve Rescue Rabbit twice sometimes, and sometimes I just draw 2 Beckoned. So I put 2 extra Chosen in here because I fear God. If you don't fear God, you can cut the 2 Chosen and go down to 20, and this is totally fine as well. We're on 1 copy of Monster Reborn as our limit 1 card. This card's crazy because if you draw it off Ningirsu instead of your Treacherous, you can end on 2 co-linked Ibs, Ningirsu, and Aurum in the extra monster zone. Very crazy. 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. There are some games in this video that you'll see me playing Lance. I went back and forth on it. In theory, Lance protects your rabbit from things like enemy controller, the new warning point. But in practice, I lost so many games to not having it. So I eventually bit the bullet, and I am now playing 3 Cosmic Cyclone, and I recommend you do the same. 1 copy of World Legacy's Heart. This card's crazy. I'd like to be able to play 2, but you can't search it on your first turn, so you're really only using it for turn 2 follow-up. And the 1 Treacherous Trap Hole to draw into off Ningirsu. In the extra deck, we are on exactly as many cards as we need. We need 2 copies of Imduck for the combo and 1 copy for the follow-ups for 3 copies of Imduck total. 2 copies of Ib, the World Chalice Priestess. We also go through 2 copies of this. 1 copy of Aurum, the World Chalice Blade Master. We only need 1 copy of this, so we're only playing 1. 1 copy of Ningirsu. We only need 1 copy, so we're only playing 1. And 1 copy of Security Dragon for corner cases. There is a game against Super Quants that I'm absolutely gutted I'm not able to show you because I didn't save it, where I actually summoned all 8 of these monsters, and Security Dragon came up to remove an Ancient Fairy Dragon from the field. Incredibly powerful. I would not recommend changing anything about this unless you want to do something funny and cut the 2 Chosen for Needle Sealing and maybe just play 3 and cut the Treacherous. You can end on 3 copies of Ib if you don't make an Ningirsu co-link to each other in the main monster zone. And so if you have Needle Sealing, you just set that. And that's very funny, but I'm not worried about that right now. Not too interested in that. Your normal bread and butter combo will go through 2 Imduk, 2 Ib, 1 Aurum, and 1 Ningirsu. Your inboard will be Aurum, the extra monster zone, pointing to an Ib, pointing to a Ningirsu directly below Aurum. And the reason I'm playing a 3rd Imduk and a Security Dragon is because if they don't kill you and you need to do some removal, you can use your World Legacy's Heart to put back the Ningirsu and a normal monster. Then you can make a Security Dragon, banish your 2nd World Chalice Guard Dragon to bring a normal monster at its link point, make Imduk, use Security Dragon to bounce an opponent's monster to the hand, then link Imduk and Security Dragon to make the Ningirsu you returned, triggering the Imduk, special summoning the normal monster from your hand, and that is lethal or an additional removal spell with Ningirsu. I think this deck is really powerful. I don't know if it's optimal, but it certainly seems optimal to me. The games with this deck are incredibly insane, and I can't wait to show you them. So without further ado, let's take a look at some replays. So our first duel here is going to be up against a Yami Yugi on Dark Magician. This game is really going to show off our bread and butter combo because we do open the full combo. Rescue Rabbit plus any Chalice name plus Lee or the Cup. Of course, we drew Lee in this combo, so we're going to be normal summoning the Rabbit, making 2 Chosen, linking into Aurum, or rather linking into Imduk with the Chosen by the World Chalice. Then we are going to link them both off for a copy of Aurum, triggering the Imduk in our graveyard to special summon the Lee, leaving our 2nd normal summon for the Cup. We're going to activate Aurum's effect to tribute Lee for the Aurum. This is why it's so important that you play Rescue Rabbit, because Aurum gets you back the Imduk you link off for your additional normal summon, which allows you to make your Ib with Chalice, with the Cup and any other Chalice name in hand. Ib coming into the middle zone, triggering Chalice to summon our 2nd Guard Dragon and Beckoned, making our 2nd copy of Ib, triggering our Guard Dragon, making our 2nd Imduk, and now we're linking the 2 off for Ningirsu. Now I'm just going to pause this. Every hand in the deck basically does this. There are hands, obviously, like any deck, where you don't get to, but this is the point of the deck. You're either going... You can stop on just 2 co-linked Ibs, but I don't really know what exactly you're accomplishing there other than maybe not dying. I think this overall is better, and we're going to be rewarded. We're going to draw 2 cards off Ningirsu, and what do you know? We drew a Treacherous Trap Hole. We hard-opened Monster Reborn, so we're ending on 4 monsters and a Treacherous. That's crazy. Our opponent's going to Duality, revealing that they're playing Dark Magician, adding the Magician Navigation to hand. Really upset, or rather, I don't think I'm playing I don't think I'm playing Lance in this version of the deck, so I was not too upset about a potential Dark Magic Circle. We're going to use Ningirsu to tribute the Ib, which triggers the Ib to summon the Cup from hand. They warning point the Cup. I don't quite exactly know why. Maybe they thought that I was going to link it off. But no, I'm just going to tribute it with Aurum to revive the Ib, activate World Legacy's Heart, put some cards back in my hand. Just want to protect my cards from targeting effects. Adding the Lee to my hand and special summoning it to add another card to my hand. If you're wondering why I did that, it's because I was worried the last card was Drowning Mirror Force. They activate Eternal Soul, summoning Dark Magician. I figure I'm not going to die by battle. I'll attack it. I should have Treacherous Trap hold it, but I was actually running out of time on the timer, so that's why I didn't kill them here. But there's basically nothing they can do. They attack into Lee, or rather they attack into Ib for basically no reason, and then pass. We draw Cosmic, we send Eternal Soul, we pop their Dark Magician, and we kill them. All right, this is game 2, and it's going to be a little bit of a spaghetti game versus Gravekeepers. This is a game in which I was playing Lance, and playing Lance would have lost me this game if my opponent didn't massively throw. I'm including this game to show off what you do if you do not open combo. They use Gravekeeper's Commandant to add Necro Valley, and if I was playing Cosmic, I wouldn't need to worry about it. So just before you say this deck loses Necro Valley, that's why we're playing Cosmic now. So this is a pretty rough hand. I'll show you how we navigate it. We are going to search a normal monster because we have Monster Reborn. We can make Ib off of these 2 cards here. We're going to link summon for Ib, send it to the graveyard, adding Ib back to our hand, which lets us special summon the Beckoned we searched, to make Imduck, to tribute summon the Cup, and special summon the Lee from our hand. And now we have our aura material. I should not have returned Ib to the, or I shouldn't have returned the Imduck to the extra deck. I would have been able to do a better overall combo if I didn't do that. But you live and learn. We still win. We still win anyway. Spoiler alert. We're gonna link Aurum and the Guard Dragon into Security Dragon. Bring back Beckoned. Make Imduck. I'm confident that this card is Gravekeeper Spy, so I'm not gonna fuck around with that. We're gonna make Ningirsu. That's lethal on board, and they surrender. All right, so game 3 of this showcase up against the Gore on Goki. I wanted to show this off because this is from the version of the deck where I was playing Lance and it came up in my favor, as well as it's up against a semi-competent deck. So I just want to show off that. We're going second. They're going to Reinforcement of the Army into Goki Suplex, normal summon that Suplex, activate Suplex to summon Rescorpio, set 2 cards, and pass. Very old style Goki. Here we Rescue Rabbit, going to summon 2 normal monsters from our deck. If they, one of the set cards is Needle Sealing, and if they Needle Sealing right there, we would have passed. So here is our Link Summon of Imduck. We're going to tribute the Beckoned for the Cup, so we can chain block the Cup in case they have, like, I don't know, something that negates effects. They have 2 counter traps. It's possible. They have 2 face downs, rather. It's possible. We're going to activate the Cup and activate Imduck to summon these fellas. Going to activate World Legacy or World Chalice Fairy to add another Guard Dragon from our hand. We're going to Lance, targeting Aurum to protect it. They're going to Enemy Controller. We're going to Guard Dragon, meaning we're going to keep some of our cards. They're going to search 2 cards. That's really rough, but, I mean, that's what this deck does. They're going to search Twist Cobra, and they're going to search the Suprex, not going for rematch because they can make a link and search rematch on their turn. We're going to bring back a normal monster at link point to revive in attack position and get in for a fair amount of damage. We have our Treacherous Trap Hole set, which will let them float, but we can stop them mid-combo with it. And worth mentioning, because they didn't let us go through our entire extra deck, we basically have a ton of gas left over. So if they don't kill us, we're going to return cards to our extra deck with the World Legacy's Heart we can search, and we can do our full combo on our next turn. They're going to make Jet Ogre, searching a Headbat and a rematch. They're going to activate Headbat, discarding the Twist Cobra. I'm going to Treacherous Trap Hole, mostly because I want to get that Link monster off the field. They're going to search the finishing move. They have exactly enough to make 1 Link monster, 1 Link 2 rather, and then finishing move it, which will not kill me. So I feel pretty good about that. They're going to make their second Jet Ogre and proceed to search an Octo Stretch to protect themselves. Not going to do a whole lot of good. They're going to activate the finishing move and attack over my Aurum. That's totally fine. We're going to banish the Cup, search the Heart, activate the Heart to return Beckon to our hand as a starter and Aurum to the extra deck so we can do the whole thing again. Here we normal summon Imduck, or we link summon Imduck, extra normal summon for Lee, search the Cup, normal summon the Cup by tributing Lee, link summon for Aurum, and we can just do the whole thing over, and they will concede. All right, these next couple games are curated games that I played against some individuals rather than on ladder, so I just wanted to show off some matchups against rogue strategies rather than just whatever chaff you find on ranked. Match 5 is going to be up against Magnet Warriors. We draw like ass, so we normal summon our normal monster, make Imduck, tribute Mduck for the cup. The way I see it, if they kill us, they kill us. But, you know, if they don't, we'll float. Or they'll just not attack. If they summon something from the extra deck, we get to send Cup to the graveyard to send their extra deck monster to the graveyard. That doesn't happen. They pass on a Magnet Warrior and a field spell. We top deck a World Chalice name, which means we get to make Aurum and trigger the World Chalice Cup's effect to summon Guard Dragon and Lee from our deck. Lee will add another Guard Dragon. We're going to activate Aurum, tributing the Guard Dragon to summon the Mduck, link summon Ib, activate Guard Dragon's effect, special summon the Guard Dragon from our hand. Did you know this card can also send itself from the field to negate targeting effects? I didn't. We're going to link summon a second copy of Mduck, basically because I was like, well, we can just kill him here. I'm going to make Ningirsu instead. We're going to draw a card. That's fine. We're going to send the Guard Dragon, send whatever that thing is. Worth mentioning, if they tributed with the tag out effect, because Ningirsu doesn't target, we would have sent the Delta to the graveyard and attacked for lethal anyway. Very funny, and it just sort of shows that if you're up against one of those old mid-range decks that Duel Links is famous for, if they don't kill you, you can normally on the crackback reduce their life points to 0 easily enough. That is our match against Magnets. All right, second curated game here is going to be up against Super Quantums. This isn't quite as good as the game where I didn't get to save it, where I summoned all 8 cards of my extra deck going second to kill them, but this is still a pretty good game. I misplay my first hand a little bit here, but it ends on a sort of different kind of board that still has functional interruption for your opponent. And we're going to show that off. We normal summon our Beckoned by the World Chalice, link summon into Mduck the World Chalice Dragon, tribute the Mduck for the cup, summon Lee, activate Lee. I should have searched a normal monster here, but I did not. So we sort of spaghetti out into a bit of a weird board here. We're going to activate the Cups effect to summon a Lee and a Guard Dragon, tribute the Guard Dragon for the Mduck, make the Ib, trigger Mduck, summon the Cup, activate Mduck to summon the normal, and from there we're going to make Mduck and then make an Ningirsu to draw a card and summon the Guard Dragon from our hand. What it does is it protects all of our monsters pretty much, since everything we control is linked. So we have one targeting negation, and with the Cup on our side of the field, we can send any monster they summon from the extra deck to the graveyard. So it's a bit of a weird board. I could have made the bread and butter combo like I showed off, Mduck, or rather Aurum, Ib, and Ningirsu, but this is targeting protection, since this can send itself from the field to the graveyard. This sends itself to the graveyard to send an extra deck summoned monster to the graveyard, and all of our monsters are linked, so that's functionally our whole board is immune from targeting once per turn. And if they remove any of our link monsters, we get to summon the World Chalice Fairy to search a monster, and we have Monster Reborn for follow-up. Their hand is really good, as you're going to see. They're going to activate Light Barrier to set a field spell. They don't show it off in this game, but the conceit of this quant deck is you want to make Ancient Fairy Dragon turn 1 to pop your field spell and search Magna Carrier, since Magna Carrier can summon Super Quant machines from your graveyard to make Great Magnus on turn 1. They're going to normal summon the Alfan and tribute it to reveal all 3 different layers. I really don't want to give them green, but I give them blue, and they get to trigger their graveyard effects, which functionally gets them green because they get to revive green. I'm going to tell you this right now. I had no idea that Guard Dragon protected cards from targeting, and if I'd known that, I would not have used Cup as early as I did. But they make Ouroboros. I activate World Chalice to send it to the graveyard, which prompts the Ouroboros. If I was smart, I would have let them activate Ouroboros to flip the Cup, negate it, and destroy it with the Guard Dragon, which would have been really good, but alas, we live and learn. They're going to end on Grand Pulse. That's the end of the game. We just send our Guard Dragon to the graveyard to send their little dolphin to the graveyard, and then we kill him with 3 of the same person. Wild. All right, last curated game here up against Necros. I wanted to show off a match against Necros because I felt like anything that has a searchable battle fader to fade your OTK can possibly just kill you or outgrind you on the crackback. But I think this deck felt really good, and if it wasn't for one misplay, it would have gone much differently. They're going to basically do the standard Necros thing of ritual summoning a fella and ending on a Valkyrus in hand to skip the battle phase. Particularly all right, given that they're actually ending on a monster and not just passing on Valkyrus, but there is that. We're going to normal summon Rescue Rabbit, bring out the 2 chosen by the World Chalice, make Imduck, make Aurum, activate the Cup, activate the Imduck. We're going to special summon Lee from hand, bring out the Guard Dragon, bring out the Beckoned, activate Lee, searching another Cup, activate Aurum, sending Guard Dragon, reviving Imduck, making Ib, activating Imduck, summoning the Cup, making another Ib, banishing the Guard Dragon, reviving Beckoned, making Imduck, making World Chalice, or the Ningusu the World Chalice Warrior, drawing another card, sending Aurum to special summon a Beckoned for damage, and they end on 2 cards in hand, one of which being a Necros Mirror. I don't want them to get that graveyard effect, so I'm going to banish it, and they're going to resolve their effect, ritual summoning Trishula. That's really powerful. I couldn't really play around it, alas, but I still could have won here, worth mentioning, if I played a little bit better. This is the misplay. If I didn't return Ib, but instead added Beckon to my hand, I would have won the game. We're going to make a second copy of Aurum, the World Chalice Blade Master, triggering that to summon Lee for no effect. Doesn't matter. We're going to revive Ib, and we still had a second Ib left in our extra deck, I think. What is our extra deck? Yeah, we had a second Ib there. We never bring out that Ib. The Ib we used was revived from graveyard. So if we had Beckoned in hand instead of this Ib in the graveyard, we'd have 2 Beckons on our side of the field, and that would have been lethal, but that misplay sealed the game. I'm only hitting them for 800 because I don't want to give them Master of Rights. Doesn't matter. They hard draw the ritual spell, and that is just the end of the game. We're going to speed this up here. There's nothing I can really say here that will not result in me getting my ass kicked. It's unfortunate, but it does show that if you keep stock of your card effects, and whenever you activate Heart, you want to be envisioning every step of your combo. If I added back Beckon to my hand, we won that game. But you can't get mad when you lose to misplays. You just have to learn from it. Really keep in mind your combos every time you activate Heart, and you can avoid situations like this. Let's move on to our final showcase. All right, finishing up our 10 replays, we're going to show off a best of 3 versus meta. No more points for guessing which show I'm ripping off with this series. We're going to show off some games versus Salamangreat. They're a bit spaghetti, but the purpose of this is to show off how this deck would work in a tournament environment with side decking, including a side deck skill. I mentioned earlier about how I would play Storm Access and Cosmic Cyclone. Basically, I'm main decking lands in this game, but I will side deck into Cosmic because I'm up against Salad, as well as some other cards, as well as Storm Access. It doesn't end up coming up, but there's another game in this best of 3 that I didn't end up featuring because I timed out because I was talking too long with the person I was playing against. But I would have been able to play around Balinks in Graveyard and Gazelle in hand by using Firewall Dragon co-linked with Ib, as well as Security Dragon. So this deck can do a lot with Storm Access, and you should be playing it. We're going to just do our bread and butter combo here. I'll speed through it. You should know what we do by now. Making Ib, reviving a normal, making Imduck, making Ningirsu, drawing 2 cards. We draw into Treacherous. Not great in this matchup, but, you know, Signet Mining, discarding Falco to add Jack Jaguar. Bit of a misplay. They probably should have gone for Gazelle there. But alas, they're going to Salamangreat Circle into Gazelle, so they still get it to hand. But this means their combo will use their normal summon. They're going to Jack Jaguar into Balinks. They activate Balinks, activate Gazelle. I want to destroy that Gazelle really, so they're in an awkward position with it and have to sort of. Basically, I figure at this point they don't have a way to revive their Jack Jaguar because they don't have a link point. They basically have to have an extender in hand. We don't know any of the contents of their hand, but I didn't expect them to be playing Monster Reborn, of all things, so I figure this is the best time to Treacherous them before they get a Balings Engrave. But they do, in fact, have the Monster Reborn. If they had a Salamangreat Mirror in hand and a card they could discard, they could do it, but we knew one of their cards was Sanctuary, so if one of the last two cards wasn't Reborn, that was a really sick Treacherous there. One of the few times that Treacherous is good against the Salad deck. I just don't know what I would cut for... what I would cut Treacherous for. It's just like the best card in the game, and you want to have something. You want to have silver bullets you can draw into off your Ningirsu. So that's why we're playing it. They're going to end on a non-reincarnation Sunlight Wolf, a set card, which I believe is Circle. We are going to normal summon Lee. What I should have done is forced out the Sunlight Wolf with Ningirsu. I really have no idea why I went to combat here. That was a huge throw on my part, frankly speaking. I'm going to add our Chosen back to hand and Ib to the extra deck. Needle Sealing, activate Ib, protecting our two linked monsters. Not really that great, but we get to summon a Beater to attack over the Balings, get in for 1900. There's no reason that should have happened. We should have sent the Lee to send the Sunlight Wolf. That was a huge misplay. We would have won by this point, but we still win pretty much. We make the Imduck, link it off, or send it to the graveyard rather, to send their monster to the graveyard, make an Ib just for targeting protection, and kill him. All right, it's time for game 2, and we have side-decked into Storm Access, 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, and 2 copies of Book of Moon. I side-decked into Book of Moon, basically to out Dweller going second. That was stupid. If you're really playing this in a tournament, you should side-deck DD Crow. Better to stop them from accessing Dweller in the first place than stopping the Dweller when it comes up, especially because Book is so much weaker versus Links these days. We open shit. Oh my god. We set 2 cards and pass. The reason I make Imduck here is because if they out the Imduck, we don't get a special summon, but we do get to add 2 cards to our hand, so we functionally begin next turn with 2 cards. If they destroy Imduck, we add back to our hand, and Imduck to the extra deck, and suddenly we have a way of doing things. They're going to make Balings into Foul. We Treacherous. They do open Circle, so they are going to get Gazelle off this. That's rough, but what are you going to do? We have Cosmic for the Roar, so maybe if they don't kill us here, we are fine. They send Roar. They activate Salad Sanctuary. They activate Foxy because they didn't activate it on normal summon. They pitch the Falco. They set Roar off Falco, meaning they can reincarnate Sunlight Wolf and get Circle back to hand. And we have functionally nothing. Let's banish that Roar. I was debating banishing this so they couldn't reincarnate, but we would just lose to Roar right here. This is a really, 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 really rough top deck here. We can't really do anything. We can make Security Dragon into bouncing the what's his face. I thought this was good because it means they're not searching anything with Circle, but they can protect their Sunlight Wolf with Ningirsu. I make Decode Talker here just because I don't want to use Ningirsu. That's another reason why Storm Access is good, is because if we wanted to beat over it, we would have had to make Ningirsu, and we would rather save Ningirsu for other combos. We've lost the game functionally at this point. They have everything they could want in Graveyard. They can revive the Foxy to add Gazelle back, or just use another Circle to add Mirror, summon to the Link Zone, add Gazelle. We're going to make Security Dragon, or they're going to make Security Dragon to out our monster and kill us. All right, last match of the game. Back on Playmaker and I with Storm Access. Still siding into our 3 copies of Book of Moon, but I've sided the Book of Moons back out for more Chosen by the World Chalice, I think. We open like dog ass. This is basically the worst hand either of us drew, but I figure if you're playing in enough tournament rounds, you're going to brick eventually, so let's see what we can do against the best deck when we're basically playing through simplified game states, the whole format. This is a real long one, so I hope you stick around. for it and don't leave early. They're going to add Sanctuary, letting them reincarnate Balinks, which is, you know, it lets them get Roar back, but it's just going to get banished off Resolution. I don't want to walk into Salamangreat Roar, so I'm going to Cosmic it. It doesn't feel great to Cosmic it if it's going to get banished anyway, but we don't have to run into it. I have to pass here. This is all I can do. We're going to try to not die, but it looks like we fade a draw step. They make Wolf. They get to, I don't know why they reincarnate it, because they don't have a Salamangreat spell trap in their graveyard. But we were happy to not be dead, so we normal summon Beckend. We make Imduck. They econ it. That is the end of our turn. But if they out it, we get to summon Lee. They draw into. They told me it's DD Crow, which is very funny. We're going to make Imduck. Well, we're going to tribute Imduck for the cup. They're going to tribute and steal the cup. Very funny, because we get to tribute for another cup, send it to the graveyard off Lee, summon 2 Beckons, make Imduck the World Chalice Dragon. They can send our Imduck to the graveyard. It doesn't matter, because we do have extenders, but we do spaghetti a little bit here. We make another Imduck, make Aurum, and we just need to get one more monster on field, and we can, because we tribute the Lee for a Beckend and attack them for lethal. Wild game, very funny. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider watching me on Twitch at twitch.tv/skepticalsnivy. I streamed the deck building process for this deck live, as well as a lot of the ladder matches that I played. And if you'd like to participate in the deck build process, as well as maybe play some games against me for testing and maybe even show up in the video, you can join the Twitch chat and participate that way. Additionally, I host bi-weekly Duel Links tournaments, or rather I used to, and would like to host another Duel Links tournament in the future. If that sounds fun to you, let me know in the comments section below, and maybe join the Discord through Twitch chat. I don't post my Discord on my YouTube videos because I want to vet people as they come into my server live, but if you're at all interested, please consider dropping me a follow on Twitch, because that's where I produce the majority of my content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, if indeed there is a next video.